everybody doing? Good? All right, so as promised, I think you've already figured out by the handouts, right? That we have Jennifer Wiese from Be Free, gluten-free snacks, right?
Yep.
So, great entrepreneurial story, and they're on the upswing, so for sure. But there's something else. Oh yeah, so it's Ball State family. Jennifer, her husband both graduated from Ball State. 2 of their kids have already graduated from Ball State. 2 more are here. So Ball State family. So pretty exciting. Jennifer was probably my favorite last semester.
He says that to everybody, right?
No, right? No, I don't. So I love all of our speakers, but Jennifer's story is really unique, and the way she'll tell it is really unique. She really gives you an insight. She pulls the curtain back. So I'm really looking forward to it. Jennifer?
Great. Well, thank you. Jennifer Wiese, founder and CEO of Be Free, but I'm much more than founder and CEO. Those are just words, right, and titles. So I'm really at the heart of me, of who I am. I'm a promise keeper, I'm a joy seeker, and I'm a problem solver. And so today I want to share a little bit about the Be Free story, which is the company that I started back in 2010. I'd share a little bit about building a business, what that looks like. It looks different for every business, but I can share my experience. And then some teaching moments, and then there'll be plenty of time for questions and comments and that kind of thing when we're finished. So a little bit about me. Rob gave a nice little intro that I do bleed cardinal and white, but I was born and raised in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And here's my family up there at the top. Aren't we cute? Little family of 5. I am a child of the 60s, and I was raised really by 2 loving parents, and both of my brothers went to Ball State as well too. So. And then the lady here to your left is my grandmother, Violet May Maloney, and she was a student here when Ball State was Ball State Teachers College. So she was a graduate back in the mid-20s. And her story is really cool because back then you couldn't be a woman, you couldn't be a married woman and be a teacher. Just wasn't allowed. You couldn't do that. And so she and my grandfather eloped to Chicago when the World Fair was there, and I think it was 1932, got married, and then came back and lived, separate lives for several years. My grandfather honoring her education and her passion for wanting to be a teacher. So I just think that's pretty cool. And that kind of heart and that passion and that commitment and respect are really part of who I am and how I was raised. So that really kind of has woven through my life and hopefully my children's lives, and hopefully that will just pass on and on and on. And then, so I was a graduate in 1987. I studied fashion merchandising here at Ball State and marketing as well. And then I spent some time in the fashion industry in Florida with Burdines department stores, and then back in Indianapolis with some women's retailers, Paul Harris and Sycamore stores that sadly aren't around any longer, but that's where I got really some great exposure and some really great fun times back in the fashion industry as a buyer and store managers, and just a variety of hats I wore. And then I shifted gears and joined the Hyatt Regency as a sales manager, and that was super fun. So I was in my mid-20s and had a corporate job. And I got really great exposure, great experience, great sales training with the Hyatt Regency that I had no idea then how it would serve me in my later life. And so 40 years, I still am drawing back on those experiences, my relationships, my training that I had with Hyatt Regency. So I say that because you never know how an experience that you're having today, or a class that you're teaching, or a relationship that you're making, how it will impact you down the road. So try not to take those for granted. And then I met my knight in shining armor. Michael. Here we are as 29-year-olds and you know, married, and then my life then, you know, we started raising a family. So I became a mom, and family is super important to me. I treasure my family, and I put my family first. And so here they are, little wild bunch. We've got, we had 4 babies in 5 years, so it was certainly a hectic, fun, bless you, time in our lives. And so we've got August, Hagen, Clay, and Drake. Some of you might know some of them. So our 2 of our sons are here currently as students, Hagen and Drake. The other 2 have graduated. So little fun, little rowdy bunch. So as we're raising our boys, you know, life doesn't always go as planned, as you all know. You've been around long enough to know that your plans sometimes don't turn out the way you want them to. And you can plan all you want, but sometimes they just won't be what you wish them to be. And so that was our life with one of our sons when we were noticing some behaviors and just kind of some nuances that weren't like the others. And so some of those were, he was very limited on the foods that he was interested in eating, the toys that he wanted to play with, the activities he would choose, those kinds of things, very linear. And even in the way that he would line up his toys. See those, the train cars at the bottom screen, all lined up. He would do that, line up his toys from one end of the house to the other. So just some different patterns of extreme rule follower, extreme. And so some of those were, we didn't really know what that meant until a little bit later when he was diagnosed with autism. And so that was a terrifying time for us because back then, this was 2007, 2008, autism wasn't as prevalent as it is now. You know, the statistics today are 1 in 35 Americans are diagnosed with autism. Well, back then, I don't even know that they had statistics like that, but it was not as common, and it certainly wasn't talked about. We didn't have gluten-free menus. We didn't have a lot of the support systems that people with autism are using to help support their lives. And so it was very foreign to us. And so where we landed to get information, powerful information, was in Vancouver at an autism conference. Because my husband and I we love information, we love knowledge, and we continue to learn every day. We try to be better today and smarter today than we were yesterday, and that's just how we roll. And so we were hungry for information. So we found it at this autism conference, and I mentioned earlier that I'm a problem solver. And so this is all it seems a little bit random right now, but all of this is going to come together. So, so we have 4 children. We have 1 that is diagnosed with autism, and we're looking for solutions. Like one of the things we learned at this autism conference was about a gluten-free diet and how gluten-free can be impactful and a support mechanism for people with autism. And so that was one thing that we were comfortable with. We thought, we like food. We have to eat food to survive. We could try a gluten-free lifestyle. So the problem was there weren't really great tasting choices and a variety out in the marketplace already. So we identified the problem and we created a solution. And that solution was a gluten-free lifestyle, and then later it was a business called Be Free. So these are some of the early days when we're figuring out how do you got to break it down, right? How, if the product isn't out there in the marketplace, how are you going to make it? What are the ingredients that you need to make really good, delicious, gluten-free foods? And so you see this picture here of me. I'm in my garage. And the arrow is pointing to, if you look really closely, it's a leaf blower. So this machine here is a tumble drum, and what it does is it mixes flour. So we created this flour blend, 5 different types of flours that had to be mixed together, and that's what that machine did. But and then just some other pictures of me at different phases of our journey through different bakery locations, in the early days. But why I share this picture on the right of me with the flour in my garage is, as an entrepreneur, you got to take risks, and you have to do things sometimes that are unconventional. And so that's just, I think, a really good example of that was a big risk I took, right? And that was a temporary situation, but it was a solution to a problem, and it was a pathway that I saw to something bigger down the road. So, and then Be Free comes to life. So we do some farmers markets, but prior to that, you see all of us here in the kitchen. So we're a family business. So I enlisted everybody in the kitchen preparing our menu for the farmers market. We don't do this today, because our commercial bakeries produce our product in large scale, 2 or 3 different shifts. So it's very large mass production right now. But in the early days, we were in the kitchen baking our recipes for the farmers markets. And then you'll notice here in the middle, this is me at the Indianapolis Winter Farmers Market. That's where we very first got our start. And I love those days. They were such hard work, but I love those days because I had direct interaction with my customer. And if any of you shop at farmers markets, you know it's kind of fun to meet the maker, right? So those are days that I loved. I loved to be able to tell my story. I loved to hear what people liked, what they didn't like, and we could, make shifts in that. We were small enough that I could then next week maybe make exactly what they were looking for, and that just brought me a lot of joy. But you see, I'm wearing a scarf and a winter coat. So entrepreneurship also comes with a lot of pain. Often it's not comfortable. So we were inside a building, but it was unheated in the winter. And so it was often 35 degrees inside for 4 hours. So, but they were still, I have really great memories and valuable information that we learned from those days in the farmers market. And then as we grew over the years, so, we started selling in bags, just single bags of our Warrior Mix, and then we moved to cases, and then we started purchasing our ingredients by the pallet. So just kind of a natural progression of how our business has grown over the years. And, I just knocked down doors. People ask me often, how did you get into Target? We're in about 452 Target stores today. How did you get into Kroger? How did you do that? I just knocked until somebody answered. And so I think that's a really big lesson for entrepreneurship too, or life in general, is, you have to go after what you want. And often it's not an easy path. Often it's not a straight path. But if you're willing to take the hard road and knock until somebody opens the door, often what's on the other side is just unimaginable. So that's how I rolled in the early days. That's how I roll now. I make goals, I make attack plans, and we just go after it. So just a little variety of, some other growth elements of Be Free. And here I am at Walmart headquarters. And no pictures allowed, by the way, in Walmart headquarters. So. Sometimes you do things too that really aren't allowed, but you can do a few things like that to further your cause. So entrepreneurship obviously comes with some growing pains. We're up until 20, I started the company in 2010, and all the way up until 2021, 2022, we've been self-funded. So we really worked our way up to an investment, and I'll talk about that in just a little bit. But our company was really strapped for capital. Our small little team was really stretched, really thin. We were all maxed out, stressed out. And so I was looking for a way to, how do we grow at a manageable rate? How do we get our company past this little pinch point that we're in right now? And so we sought out an accelerator program. It's called SKU. And there are lots of them out there for all different kinds of businesses and different sizes of business. But this one was really geared towards CPG, which is consumer packaged goods, food and beverage, and specifically. So that's where we went, and we got accepted into the program. It was a 12-week program where we did a deep dive on our company, into the industry, and gained some really, really insightful information, gathered beautiful relationships that are lasting today, and advisors that will tell us the hard things, but will also offer a bridge and a gateway to whatever that next thing is that we're dreaming about. So it was a really special opportunity that we had to be part of. And so with that, we did an investor pitch. And I wanted to share it with you because I think that it's probably something that you might not see again. I don't know if anyone else might share this with you, but it's really just kind of a little glimpse into what it can look like to present an opportunity to an investor from a brand. Bless you. And so this is the beginning of our pitch deck. So like anything, most companies are created out of a need, a gap in the market. You see something, a product or a service that isn't available, or that you think you can add your own spin on it and make it better. So that was the case with Be Free, and that's what we did. So we identified a problem, and the problem in the marketplace was that what we were told was healthy was really not that healthy. When you looked closer, you found a lot of added sugar, highly processed oils, and cheap ingredients. And so we created a product that would address those deficits and that would bring something even better to the marketplace. So our solution was Warrior Snack Mix, which is a plant-based, gluten-free, grain-free, no refined sugars, nothing artificial. You have a package of it in your lap, and it's available now in 5 flavors. And we're really proud of some of the certifications, the third-party certifications that we've been able to gain: plant-based, made in the USA, certified women-owned, B Corp certified pending. We're working on that. It's a very, very lengthy process. Paleo certified and certified gluten-free. And those third-party certifications are super important to consumers. It just really adds an additional layer of trust and authenticity. And so in each package of Warrior Mix, you'll find soft, chewy chunks made with really simple ingredients like almonds, sunflower, pumpkin seeds. You can see and identify the ingredients that are in the package. And we took the time to survey our customers, and we know the most important buying decision is that it needs to be tasty, and that customers are looking for low sugar and gluten-free foods. So we specifically address those needs in our product. And knowing our competitors, you can see the top line is how we stack up against some other national brands. Be Free Warrior Snack Mix is gluten-free, it's grain-free, it has no refined sugars. It's an excellent source of plant-based protein. It has 100% coconut oil, no oats or fillers, unique chunks. It's women-owned, B Corp pending, and we are a provider for jobs for people with autism. And I'll talk about that in a little bit as well too. And then just knowing your market, just even a little bit more, labeled products that are labeled grain-free are some of the highest growing attributes of all free from products. And just a little bit more on the market, and these statistics are changing all the time. So 3.42 billion are expected. Our clean label and gluten-free is really strong. It's growing. It's not going away. It's not a trend. 3.42 billion are expected to reach 7.6 billion by 2024. That's the clean label and gluten-free category. 60% of people are looking for no artificial foods, no preservatives in the foods that they eat, and plant-based foods, as you're well aware, you can't avoid it. You see plant-based foods and advertising for plant-based foods everywhere. So that's a big segment of food as well too, and that's expected to reach 85 billion by 2030. And 2/3 of people are trying to reduce their amount of sugar. If you pay attention to the labels that are on your food, sugar is everywhere, even in unsuspecting things like ketchup. Things that really don't need to have sugar a lot of times do have sugar. So it's a conscious effort for a lot of consumers to reduce their intake. And I can tell you all day long how great we are, right? But when customers tell you by the way that they engage with us on social media, and this 49,000 is old, and it's closer to 100,000 now. So just, customers voting with their dollars means a lot. And 5-star reviews, or reviews that consumers take the time to put on your website or on their Amazon review and other places that reviews are available, are really meaningful. And our customer, we call them our tribe, because they really, they're tight-knit, and they really support us and cheer us on and share our product and our story with other people, which is super meaningful. So, the last one is probably one of my favorites. I'll be a customer for life. That's pretty golden. You can't really put a price on that. You see our national distribution here. You can find us in stores all over the country, all different sizes of retailers, from big box stores like Costco and Sam's Club to specialty stores like Whole Foods. OTG is an airport retail location, and so just lots of others. It's just a little sampling of some of the retailers that you can find our product in across the country. And then, we have to talk about sales. So this is an interesting slide, because it shows, prior to COVID, it shows our growth from the beginning. Well, actually starting in 2014. That's when my husband came on board in 2014. He was a new car dealer. Was looking to make a shift in his career and kind of give our family a little bit more togetherness as well too. And so in 2014, we really took our company to kind of just a really different level and a different focus. He saw that I had a product that we could put in trucks and ship all over the country. I didn't so much have that vision, but he did. And with his experience and his knowledge, we really took that lens of, all right, let's get out of just Indiana and let's take this product nationwide. Let's put it in trucks and let's ship it everywhere. So that's what we've been focused on since 2014. And so you can see our steady growth. Except for 2020, we're doing really good, right? Like, you're really clicking along. We got $468,000 in 2017, and then we more than doubled our sales in 2018, and we cracked $1 million in sales for the very first time ever in 2018, and then we did it again in 2019, and then COVID hit. And when COVID hit, when a lot of other retailers in our space, they doubled or tripled their sales. Why? Because they were on e-com. They were fully optimized on e-com, either on their own website and Amazon and other .com platforms. We were not. And we knew it going prior to COVID. We knew it was an area of opportunity for us. It just was never a focus, because we were so focused on brick and mortar. We were so focused on giving people what they wanted in the store that they shopped at all over the country. That was our focus. So when 2020 rolled around and COVID and everything shut down, and our product was not deemed an essential product, so even though we had inventory in stores across the country, in distribution centers and in back rooms all over the country, because the stores weren't mandated to put it on the shelves, our product sat in the back shelf, in the back rooms, and nobody knew it was there. Our shelf was empty, but in the back room they had inventory, but they weren't allowed to touch it. So it hurt us bad. That was the year that we were planned to hit $3 million, and you see where we landed, $850,000, and then even less the next year. Why? Because it hurt bad. It took a hard hit on us, and we barely survived. And just by the grace of God and by a lot of other people that held out their hand and picked us up, we were able to gain a lot of grants, not only from the government, but from our own community. And that's what saved us. And so we were able to recover. We didn't quite hit 3.3 in 2022, but we're going to surpass that in 2023. So ours is interesting in that our compound annual growth rate for 5 years prior to COVID was 102.6%, which is pretty outstanding. And so that's something we're really, really proud of. But we're really so proud of the fact that we survived COVID and the 2 years after it when so many didn't. So we have a lot to be proud of. And then this is our fundraising kind of map of where we'll be spending our fundraising dollars. And manufacturing and working capital will account for the bulk of it. And then we'll plan on adding more talent, going deeper in our marketing, and then adding new product innovation. And so in 2022, so just about a year ago, we were able to raise $820,000. And so that was an interesting process, of which I have to say that was really, really difficult for me. I am not the type to ask for things. I like to do things, but asking for things, especially money, was really difficult for me. However, I was asking from a point of not really from me, but for a business that I knew would help people, offer a variety of choices for them. A lot of people who choose gluten-free don't always choose it because they have celiac disease. There's a whole variety of reasons why people choose the foods they do, or choose to eat the certain types of foods that they do. And so anyhow, I got a little sideline there, sorry. But anyhow, but having a company that has that you have a passion about, that is doing something for people besides just making money, is really powerful and really impactful. And so some of the things that we're doing to just kind of keep our brand fresh and new is we did a little package refresh. So this is what our new packaging looks like if you see it in the stores. And then adding innovation, so adding some little mini bars. And we decided on a mini bar instead of a full-size bar because that's what our people are telling us that they want. So we actively solicit our customers in many ways, some ways through, direct. We have email lists, so sometimes directly we'll ask them, what are you looking for? Would you like this or that? And then we respond to it. So adding little mini bars. We have a hot cocoa mix that we're going to be adding to our offering very shortly. And then, kind of just starting to wrap up my formal presentation here, just some lessons learned. Building a business is a marathon. It's not a sprint. Any runners in the group? Anybody a runner? Yep. So are you long distance or are you sprinter?
Distance.
Distance? Are you distance? Or
Distance.
Yeah. So, just having that knowing going into it that it's not going to be a sprint. It's not going to be, I'm going to run from here to there and done. I nailed it. We're moving on. It's a marathon. So it takes a lot of mental fortitude, a lot of endurance. But I will tell you that the benefits are so worth it. So worth it. And then, if you have a product or a service that you're interested in bringing to the world, I say just do it. Don't wait until everything is perfect. That's what we like to do. We have everything lined up, right? We want everything to look all polished and shiny and new. And that's really just rarely the way it goes. So I would highly encourage you, if you have something that you want to offer the world, just do it. Get it out there and let the people tell you. Perfection is death. It really is. It's the killer of business. It's the killer of dreams. It just is. So 3 things that are really important to have in a product or a service that you're creating. Having the product that people want, having a passion or a mission around that product or service, and then having the capacity to be able to continue to create it to fill your orders. I will tell you that those three things, product, passion or mission, and capacity, are the reason that Sam's Club gave us a golden ticket. So a year ago, we were part of a program where Walmart invites brands to come in and pitch their product to buyers. And that's why we got a golden ticket. The golden ticket is a promise to do business down the road. And so that promise to us was realized in January when we shipped, how many trucks, Michael? 18? 18 full semi-trucks to distribution centers for Sam's Club all over the country. And so it was a big deal for us. It definitely kind of moved the mark for us. It also has been able to push us sales-wise 40% higher, outpaced than we were the whole entire year last year. So it's been really super impactful for us. And then handshakes are golden. I can't tell you how many times I've jumped in the car and driven to meet somebody or hand delivered a sample package, because handshakes and face-to-face, it's irreplaceable. I mean, you can't get the same connection. You can't build the same type of a relationship over the phone or on a Zoom call as you can face-to-face. So I would highly encourage you, anytime that it's available and possible, make the effort and go the face-to-face route. It really makes a difference. And then be memorable. I'm always looking for ways that, how do I set myself apart? We all know how many products you have to choose from, right? Go to Amazon, go to your grocery store and just stand in the granola aisle. Look how many choices you have, right? There's so many choices, and every day my task or my charge is, how do I be memorable? How do I get my product to stand out amongst all the others? And when I'm having a presentation with a buyer, for a retailer, say it's Kroger or Target or Whole Foods, how do I make myself different? How do I make that buyer want to do business with me? And it's a personal relationship. So just kind of always thinking about, how do I be memorable? What can I do to take that little next step that will set me apart from the rest of the pack? And then always remember that you're a warrior. You are warrior strong. If you don't feel like it, you are. And you have unique talents and abilities and gifts that no one else does. And the world needs what you have. And then, so I have a little question for you. This is just a variety of pictures, family pictures, growth pictures, that kind of thing. Can anybody tell me which picture does not really seem to belong? And you can just call it out, or you can point to it, you can do whatever. I have a prize for whoever gets it right. Come on, you got some guesses. Come on, which one? Which one do you think doesn't belong?
The top one.
You're right. You're right. Oh my gosh. Okay, so that is the bubbles. The bubbles picture. It's my it's just some fraternity guys. All right. We decided to put bubbles in their jacuzzi. So what I gave you in that little package is something that no one else has yet. It's a bag of our hot cocoa mix. And if anybody comes to the farmers markets, we're going to be doing a farmers market in Noblesville this summer. It's every Saturday, so if anybody lives in Noblesville or swings by Noblesville, come and see us. We're going to have a trailer there with cocoa and lemon shake-ups. So it's a way that we can offer jobs, job training and jobs to for people with autism. And it'll be the first time that we'll be in our community, really just being that extension of, what does that look like? What does it look like to be served by someone who often is overlooked? And so it's a really big part of our mission with Be Free is to have an inclusive work environment and that includes people with autism and other kinds of special abilities. So we're really passionate about that, and we really feel like we can be a change agent in that area. Even though we're a smaller company, smaller companies band together can make big impact and big change. And I want to thank you so much for inviting me here today. I do have my phone number there. That's my cell number, and you're welcome to call me, text me, communicate with me anytime. I'm happy to hear from you. I'm happy to answer questions or be that source of hope or inspiration, because we all need that, right? So if I can be that for you, please reach out to me. And my email address is there as well too. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn if anybody is on the LinkedIn platform. And one of the things that I promised Dr. Matthews that I would mention is the ELI that you all are familiar with, right? You all have taken it. You all know what do you call it? Is it a profile? A style. You all know what your style is. So I took it too, and I was surprised. I was surprised at what I found out. So my style is a balanced builder. But I was surprised by that because I thought I would be more in the artist category. I mean, I really, really thought that's really where I was going to be. But the profile put me right in that balanced builder little quadrant. And some of those typical preferences of that builder are scales businesses, ventures and projects, desires efficient operations, builds systems and processes, recruits multi-talented and multifunctional learners, leads and motivates to complete projects, and is growth-oriented. So a lot of those definitely are part of who I am, but I definitely do have an artistic kind of little blend to me as well too. But it was really interesting to do that, go through that process. But I think how to all integrate that into thoughts about being a leader and running a company are that there needs to be a lot of different styles to run a company. And if you can identify what your strengths and your weaknesses are, you can really build your team around that so that you have all those components so that your weakness is someone else's strength. And I just think that knowledge and that information is so impactful if you're able to, kind of swallow that little lump of knowing what your weaknesses are and what you're not good at. I'm crystal clear on what my weaknesses are, really, and I hire to those. So I'm not very organized. I hire people who are super organized, So I look at all those, where are the deficits in my life and my personality and my style, and then I go and hire those. But I'm happy to answer any questions. If anybody has any questions or comments for me, I'm happy to answer. Yeah.
So I want to know at your first, one of your first slides, you said that your child was very picky of like certain foods and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So was it hard to get him to eat this stuff? Or for him to try it? Because like I have a child that is sensory, has sensory with food and all that stuff. So if I put this in front of him, I know he would not do that. So that's why I was kind of interested in wondering, like, with your child, is this something that he does enjoy?
He does now.
And, like,
he does. Yes, he's 27 years old too. So yeah, yeah. So he does. But when he was a kid, I would say no. He liked goldfish crackers. He liked chocolate chip cookies. He liked very specific things. And getting him to break away from those were very difficult, really very difficult. And somebody gave me one of the doctors that we used to see, suggested and gave me advice that, just focus on the things that he likes and the things that he'll eat, and continue to offer variety, and variety, rise, spice of life, right? And that, eventually don't get too forceful about any of that. And eventually, he'll come around and make some choices, as long as those choices are presented to him, a variety of healthy choices that, don't get too stressed out about it. Yeah.
So I was looking at the packaging.
Yes.
Who's May?
Who's May?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for asking. So I mentioned May's my grandmother. So you saw a picture of her from the very beginning, the black and white photo. She was a Ball State graduate. She's my grandmother. And so each of our flavors, because we are a family business and we're looking for ways, when we rebranded a while ago, we're looking for ways to help tell our story. How do we tell our story? How do we connect our family to our product so that other people who are interested or buying our product can feel that connection? So each one is named after a different family member. So we've got Augie's original. He's who Be Free was created for. So we gave him the original flavor. Clay's chocolate. And each flavor goes with their personality as well, too. So Clay was a chocolate lover. He still is his whole life. Hagen has the berry flavor. He's our redhead. We just kind of felt like that goes together. And May, my grandma May took an apple pie everywhere she went. So, yeah.
I had a question concerning, you were talking about in the beginning how you set your goals and how you have action plans. How do you go about those, and how are you establishing productive ways of achieving?
Oh, good question. Thank you for that. So how do we go about setting goals, and how do we make sure that we're reviewing them, following through, those kind of things? Yeah, great question. So we, it's a continual process. So we try to do goal setting at the beginning of the year. However, this year I'm going to do it differently, because what we've done in the past is in January we sit down with our team. I have an idea of what I would like the goals to be for the year, and they're always based around revenue, right? Because if your company isn't growing in revenue, we always want it to grow in revenue. So we always do that in January, but this year I'm going to do it in November, because once January rolls around, we're like, okay, here's what our goals, here's what we think our goals are, here's how we're going to accomplish them. You almost have lost the first month. So if I do it in November ahead of time, then when January rolls around, we're like, here's our plan of attack. The whole team is familiar with what our goals are. They can be laser focused. We can already have made those assignments on who's going to do what to help get us there. If we need systems in place in order to get these new goals, like maybe we need better communication. Maybe we need another piece of software to help us stay organized, or maybe we need another sales tool. We can have those things in place prior to January so that we're ready to hit the ground running on January 1. But to answer the rest of your question, how do we make sure that we're hitting our goals, is we review every month. We review where our sales are, and then we break it up into months. We break it up in the whole year, like we have a whole year goal. Here's my goal. We want to hit $3 million in sales this year. How are we going to do that? Well, we're going to look at who are our current customers, because that's where the most of our investment has already been. We've taken all the time and energy to create this relationship with a customer, and if it isn't maximized, meaning if there are still more stores that we can go into under that store umbrella, well, let's do that, because we've already spent the time to develop that relationship. We already know the person that can make the decision. So let's go to that person and ask them for more. Ask them, can you add more stores to our product? Can you put more SKUs on the grocery store shelves in the stores we're already in, those kind of things. And then we just review them on a monthly basis to see how we're doing. And then if we're not hitting those marks, then we don't just keep doing the same thing. Because if you're doing the same thing and it's not creating the results you want, that's not effective. So we'll make shifts and as we need to, so that we're continuing to move forward. Yes, in the white.
So I started a company very similar to how you started yours. I saw a need for something, and it hit close to home with my family. So I make artisan soaps. Obviously, I feel like food has a certain level of like emotion, like you can almost tell a story with food.
I agree.
Whereas with soap, it's a little bit harder to kind of portray like the story of it. So what is your best advice when it comes to giving the emotional, like the personal touch to something that's not consumable?
Right. Well, I think that scent is so powerful, and you're talking about soaps. There's scent or unscented, right? But soaps have that emotional component, much like food does. Like, we eat with our eyes and our nose often. So I think anytime you can tell your story with your packaging is really a great way to go. Anytime you can get people telling your story for you, that's also a really nice way to add to your tribe and to your storytelling capability. You're welcome. In blue?
So after all your kids graduated, did they come work for you?
Did they come work for me after they graduated? Well, some yes, some no. And it's interesting. Family business is interesting because everybody has their own passion, right? So our oldest son does work for us. And so we're really super, super proud of him, and he's really super valuable to our team. He manages a team of young adults with autism, and because he's on the autism spectrum, he has that unique perspective. And it's really, like, as a mom, it's really heartwarming, and it's really super special to watch just how he interacts with others, and how he's just naturally compassionate. He's naturally just motivating, and it's really cool. It's really special. But some of the others, they do, and they want money, right? They'll come home and say, hey, I always have work. So a lot of them will be like, yeah, I need some extra money, so maybe I'll work for mom and dad over the weekend. But the others are really on their own path. A couple of them are interested in fashion. So one is building his own brand right now, and so that's super exciting. And I wouldn't ever want to compete with that. So they all know that if at some point they want to make a shift and they want to come and work for the family business, that is always open for them. But I really want them to live out their passion and what they really choose to do with their life. In the black?
You mentioned that it's good to understand your weaknesses and find people that will complement that. So, but many of us enjoy working with people that are similar to us and like-minded.
Sure.
What kind of structures do you put into place to make sure that it is a way of working together well and that it is inclusive? What structures have you put in place to make sure that it is easy to work with people that are very different from you?
That is a great question. What structures are we using to make sure there's diversity, right, on our team, and that we're not just all working from the same style? People love comfort. Like, we want to feel comfortable. That's kind of our natural as a human. We want to find that comfort zone. But to answer your question, it's a continual process and it's intentional as well too. So we made the intentional decision to look and really tailor our jobs, a portion of our jobs, to people that have special abilities. So that was an intentional decision that we made, and to do that takes some extra effort. It takes some out-of-the-box kind of thinking. And then how we accomplish that is we partner with some other resources in our community. One is Janus Developmental Services, and they help support us. They also help bring potential employees to us. There's another agency called Hope Source. So we're looking outside of our team, our immediate team. So we're looking for other resources in our community that can help introduce us to people that think and act and look differently than we do. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, I mean, but I was just also wondering, like, the structures that you might have internally, like, how do you make sure that those voices are heard or things like that? Like, how do you promote respect, or how do you promote that different opinion? I don't, that's.
Yes, yes. So, okay, so I see what you're saying. So, how do we make sure that our team is respectful in their interactions and that kind of thing? So, right now we're a very small team. So, there's 5 of us on our internal team. And so we have a weekly meeting that we meet face to face. And then, I feel like part of that falls on me as the leader of the company to instill that people are communicating, that and the tone gets set at the top, right? So I'm treating others with respect. So people who I interact with, people that are on my team or that are in the same room with me, they're watching, they're listening, they're seeing how do I interact with other people. I may be angry about something, but how am I acting? How am I reacting? So I feel like, a big part of that is it starts from the top, right? So it starts with me, and I have to be conscious about how I'm treating others, and then just kind of setting that tone for this is how we roll. This is the expectation in this place, and it's just how it is. So I think we will need to have more structured systems as we grow. So maybe I can report back to you next year on how that's going. In the back?
Are you guys mainly located in Fishers, or where's your main base? I guess missed that.
Yeah, so our company is really, it's fragmented. We're in a lot of different locations, but our home base is Noblesville. So we have a home office in Noblesville. We have 2 warehouses, one in Cicero, one in Noblesville, where we do some fulfillment for our Amazon and our online orders. And then we have big manufacturing in Michigan. So that's where our large-scale manufacturing is done for our Warrior Mix. And then in Noblesville also, we have a smaller facility that we're doing smaller projects. So we're mixing our hot cocoa mix there. It's where the hub is going to be for our food truck. And then we're doing other special projects there as well too. So we're kind of in a couple different places. Yep. Who else? Yes.
What is something that you would like us as the next generation of entrepreneurs to know and to take away from anything? I mean, it could be about business, it could be about personal life, and then to expand on that, what would you say is ways that we can be the best leader, being a leader yourself?
Oh, good questions. Okay, so the first one is the takeaway. What would I like you to take away as the next generation, right, of leaders? Yes. I really want you to know that you have gifts. You have gifts that no one else has, and just be. Just don't be afraid to be you. Don't be afraid to put your thumbprint on the world. I think that's the biggest thing. And also, have people know who the people are. If you don't know now, make it your mission to know who the people are that build you up. Who in your life builds you up? Who in your life makes you feel like you can do anything? Who in your life is there to support you when everyone else says, no, you can't? That's your person that says, yes, you can. So if you're able to find people in your life that do that for you, your road will be a little easier, maybe a little happier too. We were really made to be in community. No one was really put on earth to live alone. But just, surrounding yourself by people who believe in you and build you up. Because there's a lot of negativity in the world. We all know that, right? We don't need any more of that. But what we do need is we need more people to cheer each other on, right? To see the goodness in each other and not to be afraid to support that. What was the second part of your question?
It was, how can we be the best leaders?
How can you be the best leader? I think leadership starts right here with your ears. I think it starts with your ears. And it's being a good listener. And it is just paying attention to what's around you. But being a good listener, I think, is one of the best ways you can be a good leader. And knowing when to zip your lips and let the other person talk. So self-control probably sums that up, maybe. Anybody else? Thank you so much. Such a pleasure being here. I love being on campus, so thank you.